This is Mrs. Claus with Kids Can Cosplay Storytime. Today we're going to hear a very special story. This is the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it's written by Robert L. May. There he is. I'm sure many of you already know the story Rudolph, but we're going to read the very first story written about him. Here we are. Let's see if I can get this camera right here. Here we go. 'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the hills the reindeer were playing, enjoying the spills of skating and coasting and climbing the willows and hopscotch and leapfrog protected by pillows. While every so often they'd stop to call names to one little reindeer not allowed in their games. There he is. Ha ha, look at Rudolph. His nose is a sight. It's red as a beet, twice as big, twice as bright. While Rudolph just wept, what else could he do? He knew that the things they were saying were true. Oh, but it's not nice to say things that are true, even when they're hurtful. You need to be very careful if you need to say something that's untrue to someone, or that is true rather, but it's hurtful. Be very careful how you say it. Where most reindeers' noses are brownish and tiny, poor Rudolph's was red, very large and quite shiny. In daylight it dazzled, the picture shows that. At night time it glowed like the eyes of a cat, and putting dirt on it just made it look muddy. Oh boy, was he mad when they nicknamed him Ruddy. Be very careful with nicknames, those can be very hurtful. Although he was lonesome, he always was good, obeying his parents as good reindeers should. That's why, there he is. That's why on this day Rudolph almost felt happy and playful. He hoped that from Santa, soon driving his sleigh full of presents and candy and dollies and toys, for good little animals, good girls and boys, he'd get just as much as this in what pleased him as the happier, handsomer reindeer who teased him. So, as night and a fog hid the world like a hood, he went to bed hopeful. He knew he'd been good. And look, there's his stocking hanging there, waiting for Santa to come. You hang your stocking on Christmas Eve and wait for Santa to come? I know many children do. Oh my, look at this picture. Oh, there's Santa. Sometimes I call Santa Papa, just lovingly. Oh, and look at all of the elves getting ready with all the toys. Oh my, look at all the toys. Well, way up north, on this same foggy night, old Santa was packing his sleigh for its flight. This fog, he complained, will be hard to get through. He shook his round head, and his tummy shook too. Without any stars or moon as our compass, this extra dark night is quite likely to swamp us. To keep from collisions, we'll have to fly slow. To keep our direction, we'll have to fly low. We'll steer by street lamps and houses tonight in order to finish before it gets light. Here's Santa, all the way down here. Oh, he's looking up at the stars. Just think how the boys' and girls' faith would be shaken if we didn't reach them before they awaken. Oh, that would be very sad if Santa missed any of you. Oh, look, all of the reindeer are having their dinner. And there's Santa coming to talk to them. Come Dasher, come Dancer, come Vixen, come Comet, come Cupid, come Donner and Blitzen. Did I miss Prancer? Come Prancer too. Be quick with your suppers, get hitched in a hurry. You too will find fog, a delay, and a worry. And Santa was right, as he usually is. The fog was as thick as a soda's white fizz. There's the soda with the fizz. Just not getting lost needed all Santa's skill. With street signs and numbers more difficult still, he tangled in treetops again and again. Oh, poor Santa. And barely missed hitting a tri-motor plane. Oh my goodness, look at that. Almost hit the airplane. Let's see what we have here. Here's Santa. He still made good speed with much twisting and turning, as long as the street lamps and house lights were burning. At each house for its snoating, the people who lived there, he'd quickly select the right presents to give there. By midnight, however, the last light had fled, for even big people have then gone to bed. Because it might wake them, a match was denied him. Oh boy, how he wished for just one star to guide him. Through dark streets and houses, old Santa fared poorly. He now picked the presents more slowly, less surely. He really was worried, for what would he do if folks started waking before he was through? Dear, what will happen? The air was still foggy, the night dark and drear. Oh dear, when Santa arrived at the home of the deer, he alleged that he tripped on while seeking the chimney, gave Santa a spill and a painfully skinned knee. Oh dear, look at all the presents falling. The room he came down in was blacker than ink. He went for a chair and then found it a sink. Oh my goodness, he's sitting in the sink. The first reindeer bedroom was so very black. He tripped on the rug and fell flat on his back. Oh my. So dark that he had to move close to the bed and squint very hard at the sleeping deer's head. There it is. Before he could choose the right kind of toy, a doll for a girl and a train for a boy. Of course, little boys can play with dolls too, and little girls can like trains. Here we are. But all this took time and filled Santa with gloom, while slowly he groped toward the next reindeer's room. The door he just opened when, to his surprise, a dim but quite definite light met his eyes. The lamp wasn't burning. The glow came instead from something that lay at the head of the bed. And there lay, but wait now, what would you suppose? The glowing, you've guessed it, was Rudolph's red nose. There he is lying in bed. It's all lit up. So this room was easy. This one little light. Here's Santa filling his stocking. Let Santa pick quickly the gift that was right. How happy he was till he went out the door. The rest of the house was as black as before, so black that it made every step a dark mystery. And then came the greatest idea in history. What do you suppose it was? Let's find out. Let's see if I can turn the picture. There we go. He went back to Rudolph and started to shake him. Of course, very gently in order to wake him. And Rudolph could scarcely believe his own eyes. You just can imagine his joy and surprise at seeing who stood there so real and so near, while telling the tale we've already told here. Poor Santa's sad tale of distress and delay, the fog and the darkness and losing the way, the horrible fear that some children might waken before his complete Christmas trip had been taken. And you, he told Rudolph, may yet save the day. Your wonderful forehead may yet pave the way for wonderful triumph that actually might. Old Santa, you notice, was extra polite to Rudolph regarding his wonderful forehead. To call it a big shiny nose would sound horrid. You see, we can say things in a polite way while telling the truth, but say it with love. I need you, said Santa, to help me tonight, to lead all my dear on the rest of our flight. And Rudolph broke out into such a big grin, it almost connected his ears and his chin. A note for his folks, he dashed off in a hurry. I've gone to help Santa, he wrote. Do not worry. Said Santa, my sleigh I'll bring down to the lawn. You'd get stuck in the chimney, and in a flash he was gone. There, he's writing a note to his parents. You need to always make sure that you don't leave your parents when they know where you're supposed to be. So Rudolph pranced out through the door very gay and took his proud place at the head of the sleigh. Look, everyone's so surprised to see him. They're like, who is he? There we are. And, oh, pardon. The rest of the night, well, what would you guess? Old Santa's idea was a brilliant success. Look at that light. All that light shining on the sleigh. And brilliant was almost no word for the way that Rudolph directed the deer and the sleigh. There he is, leading the way. In spite of the fog, they flew quickly and low, and made such good use of the wonderful glow from Rudolph's forehead at each intersection that not even once did they lose their direction. This is New York, Rabbitville, South Pole. Oh, look how happy they all are. How exciting. Take another page here. While as for the houses and streets with a sign on them, they merely flew close so that Rudolph could shine on them. To tell who lived there and just what to give whom, they'd fly by each window and peek in the room. Oh, look, it's a little rabbit sleeping, waiting for Santa. And there's Santa and Rudolph. Old Santa knew always which children were good and minded their parents and ate as they should. That's true. You need to be very good to your mother and father and eat what they tell you to. So Santa selected the gift that was right, while Rudolph's forehead gave just enough light. It all went so fast that before it was day, the very last present was given away. The very last stocking was filled to the top, just as the sun was preparing to pop. There's the sun over the city. The sun woke the reindeer in Rudolph's hometown. They found the short message that he'd written down, then gathered outside to wait his return. And were they excited, astonished to learn that Rudolph, the ugliest deer of them all, Rudolph the red-nosed, bashful and small, the funny-faced fellow they always called names and practically never allowed in their games, was now to be envied by all far and near, for no greater honor can come to a deer than riding with Santa and guiding a sleigh, the number one job on the number one day. Look at all the deer coming together to find out what happened. Here they come, they're coming back home. The sleigh and its reindeer soon came into view, and Rudolph still led them as downward they flew. Oh boy, was he proud. There he is, as they came to a landing right where his handsomer playmates were standing. These bad deer who used to do nothing but tease him would now have done anything only to please him. They felt even sorrier they had been bad when Santa said, "Rudolph, I never have had a deer quite so brave or so brilliant as you at fighting black fog and at guiding me through." There they all are, and there's Santa with Rudolph. "By you, last night's journey was actually bossed. Without you, I'm certain we'd all have been lost. I hope you'll continue to keep us from grief on future dark trips as Commander-in-Chief." Oh my goodness, look at that. How exciting. Oh, but Rudolph just blushed from his head to his toes until his whole fur was as red as his nose. My goodness. The crowd first applauded and then started to screech, "Hooray for our Rudolph! And we want a speech." But Rudolph was bashful despite being a hero and tired. His sleep on the trip totaled 0. So that's why his speech was just brief and not bright. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And that's why That's why, whenever it's foggy and gray, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed who guides Santa's sleigh. Be listening this Christmas, but don't make a peep, 'cause that late at night children should be asleep. The very first sound that you'll hear on the roof, provided there's fog, will be Rudolph's small hoof. And soon after that, if you're still as a mouse, you may hear a swish as he flies around the house. Let me see if he's here in the picture. There he is in the picture. and gives enough light to give Santa a view of you in your room. And when they're all through, you may hear them call as they drive out of sight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Wasn't that just a wonderful story? I love that story, and Rudolph is such a good reindeer. It's all true, you know. You may just hear him this Christmas Eve if it's foggy enough. But remember, this means that you too, if you're very good and very brave, can grow up to be very strong and wise and respected by everyone. Don't let bad words hurt you, but also be very careful that you don't keep those things a secret. Talk to your mommy and talk to your daddy about them so they can help you. And I just want to leave you by saying that be sure to check out Kids Can Cosplay's other Storytime videos. And you can hear more wonderful things like this from all of my friends. And before we go, I'd like to sing a song with you. You may be wondering why I'm wearing my cowboy hat. Well, you see, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was a song that was sung by a very popular cowboy named Gene Autry. So if you knew the song, sing along with me. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved them as he shouted out with glee, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you'll go down in history. Thank you for joining me. I love you all. Goodbye.